there, Buttercups. Your resident Teabelle here. Welcome to Hark, 'tis the Teabelle. Let's dive in for that tea today, huh? We've talked about a lot of great, unique Christmas traditions. Well, we're going to travel to Guatemala, guys. And Guatemala has a tradition that on December 7th, marking the start of the Christmas season, you symbolically burn effigies of the devil to cleanse homes and spirits of negativity. They call it Quema del Diablo. This practice does involve burning household trash, old items, and sometimes specifically made devil pinatas to represent the triumph of good over evil. It allows you to purge the old year so you can begin the new year with a clear slate, I guess. This ritual is celebrated in anticipation of the Feast of the Immaculate Conception on December 8th. Now, there are some key aspects that we do want to talk about, and so it's the timing. Often at 6 on December 7th, which is the eve of the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. The symbolism of it all is that the burning is going to purge the home and spirit of bad luck. The negativity and the past year's trouble are going to go away. So this Christmas season allows you to have a fresh start. So how does it work? Families clean their homes and place the collected trash and rubbish in a pile outside. A devil effigy, made often of paper mache and other materials, is placed on top of the pile. Now, recently they have gone to devil pinatas instead of, or in addition to the trash. So it kind of is up to the person celebrating, right? So how do they actually celebrate this? So communities gather in the streets for the ritual. Firecrackers are often a part of the celebration. And people may celebrate together by eating traditional foods, like donuts and drinking warm punch after the burning. Now, we have a lot of information on recent times, but what is the historical context of it all, right? So, this tradition originated during the colonial period. So, initially, it was monasteries burning a figure of the devil, which they adapted over time. Now, the evolution of the practice is, well, it's seen now modernly as a way to start anew, free from the evil, prepare for the Christmas season, and basically have a good new year. It's also become a way to express social commentary, with the devil figure sometimes representing specific issues. Now, that's not always the case, but here's what you're going to see. You can picture it. A young man steadying a pinata shaped like the devil on the ground before him. The smug-faced demon is about 3 foot tall, with spiky red horns, a black tissue paper goatee, and a small pitchfork in his hand. He scatters branches and newspaper around the devil's black boots and snakes a long chain of firecrackers around his chubby waist as the countdown begins. 10, 9, 8. He dashes inside, returning seconds later with his wife and children, then bends to light a match as the neighborhood chorus reaches 1. The firecrackers pop wildly, making the hollow pinata convulse. The family cheers as the devil keels over and continues to burn. So, if you are in Guatemala, and it is December 6th, December 7th at 6 p.m., you're going to find yourself amongst quite a tradition. Well, Buttercups, we are traveling to Ukraine, and there are several traditions, but one of the first ones we are going to talk about is the use of spiders and or spider webs in the tree. Now, this is not to discount the use of standard tinsel, fairy lights, and other baubles. They do like to throw your artificial spider and web on the tree as well. The origin of this really comes from a potentially tall tale of a poor woman who couldn't afford to decorate her tree. And on Christmas, she discovered that a spider had covered it in a glorious, sparkling web. And so, looking at the spiritual meaning of spiders in a Christmas tree, it's considered a symbol of good luck, good fortune, and prosperity in several European countries. Now, it's not just in the Ukraine, though, it's Poland and Germany as well, um, which makes sense. Now, the legend of the Christmas spider. Now, this woman that we talked about, she was a hardworking widow, and her children and her lived in a small hut. A pine cone fell on their floor and grew into a small Christmas tree, which the children cared for with excitement. However, the family was just too poor to afford any decorations for this wonderful miracle. On Christmas Eve, after the family had sadly gone to bed, the household spiders heard the children's sobs. They decided to help. The spiders crept down and spun intricate, delicate webs all over the bare tree's branches, decorating it with a beautiful, silky pattern. On a Christmas morning, when the first rays of sunlight shone through the window and touched the webs, they miraculously turned into glittering strands of silver and gold. The family was overjoyed, and from that day forward, they never wanted for anything and lived in good fortune. Now, in these cultures, um, Ukraine, Poland, and Germany, finding a spider, real spider, or a web on a Christmas tree is seen as a positive sign that's going to bring blessings and good fortune for the coming year. Now, to honor this legend, many people in these countries hang spider shaped ornaments on their trees, and they're often made from beads, wire, or paper. The origin of tinsel, the shimmering tinsel used widely today, is said to mimic the appearance of those fabled spidered webs that turned into silver or gold. So if you encounter a spider in your Christmas tree, it's not as creepy of an event as you might think it is. So do not go all mafia style. It'll be okay. I promise. Just safely, give the spider safe travels to its outside. Because hopefully you will get that unexpected miracle, hope, and prosperity. Because this is a true reason for the magic of the holiday and the potential for blessings in humble settings. Now, that is not the only thing that Ukraine does. So, there are several of them. There is a Christmas Eve tradition of 12 meatless dishes. Now, this Christmas Eve meal is a 12-dish meatless supper, and it is central to the celebration, and each dish represents one of the 12 apostles. Now, the key dishes start with, so your meal is going to start with a kutia, a sweet grain porridge made with wheat, poppy seeds, honey, and nuts. Now, you're going to also see other traditional dishes, including borscht, fish, mushroom soup, and dumplings. Now, in addition to the meal that is supposed to represent the 12 apostles, you also have where the table is set with two tablecloths and an extra place setting for deceased ancestors. This allows them to join you for the meal. And a small amount of uneaten food is often left on the table for them overnight. Now, when does this meal begin? This meal does not begin until the first star of the evening appears in the sky. Now, Christmas Day and beyond. So you have church and greetings, obviously. So you attend church, you exchange greetings like Christ, let us praise him. Okay? There's caroling. Now you're going to find young people and children especially in groups going from house to house singing carols. They are sharing wishes for good health and prosperity and often given sweets or money in return. Your nativity plays. Theatrical performances called vertet, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I am so sorry, y'all, are held to tell the story of the nativity. And now, in addition to the spider ornaments, where they are hung on trees and windows, actually, you have angel figures as well as your normal ornaments. So they know how to do it up in the Ukraine. So, summary of this: do not go haywire if you see a spider in your tree. That's meant to be good luck. And you also are going to go caroling. You're going to have all the good times. So if you are into Christmas, this is for you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Buttercups, we are now heading to Portugal to celebrate Christmas Eve with some of our deceased ancestors, celebrating Consoada. And I mispronounced that. I apologize, you Buttercups. Woo! Let's get on with it. So, what we're essentially doing is we are going to set an extra place setting for any potential deceased relative that wants to join us on our Christmas Eve meal. Okay? Now, this meal historically followed a day of fasting and praying, culminating in midnight mass, and it was a light supper to console the family after the day's religious observances. Whew. Today, it is a traditional festive meal, and it's often centered around salt called and other dishes enjoyed on the night of December 24th. Now, the word comes from Latin meaning to comfort. It refers to a small meal to comfort people after a day of fasting, a tradition dating back to early Catholic practice of fasting before Christmas and attending midnight mass. In the past, many people fasted all day on Christmas Eve, with this meal being the first meal of the day after the service at midnight. And it really did comfort them because now they got to eat after praying and fasting. But now, more modern times have allowed it to evolve into a large festive meal with family and friends. Now, the fasting has faded, but it's still a central part of the celebration. And a lot of families still have this dinner. Now, we talked about the salt cod, which is the most traditional dish. And you can see it often served with potatoes, vegetables, and boiled eggs. Now, you're going to see different dishes depending on the region. And this can include octopus, roasted turkey, or lamb. Now, not all regions have this tradition of adding the extra plate setting, but they do have where you can. Now, there are people who leave crumbs on the hearth for the souls of the dead to comfort them. You can also leave food on the table overnight for them to snack on. So, the question here is, what region are you from, and what is your, how shall I say it, preference? Are we setting that extra plate? Are we not? It just depends on how you feel about things, is all. Well, Buttercups, let's go to Italy and talk about La Befana. Now, this origin story is a combination of a Christian legend with a pre-Christian pagan figure. Now, according to popular legend, La Befana, a kindly old woman, refused the three wise men's request to join them in finding the Christ child. Regretting her decision to join them, she has since flown on her broomstick on January 5th to leave gifts for all children on the night of the Epiphany, hoping to find Jesus. The name Befana itself is a corruption of the word Epiphany in Italian, Epiphania. There are also theories that she evolved from ancient pagan traditions, such as the Roman festival of Saturnalia, and figures like goddess Strunia, the goddess of the new year. Now, this refusal. They had stopped at her home on the way to Bethlehem and asked her for her directions to the baby Jesus and invited her to join, but she was too busy with household work to go. Once she had that change of heart later, she gathered gifts and rushed to find them, but she could not locate either the wise men or the infant Jesus. So she searches still to this day, on the night of the 5th of January, leaving gifts for children all over the world Well, maybe not all over the world, but she does leave gifts for all the children in the hopes of reaching the baby Jesus. Now, the pagan origin theory here, that Saturnalia, um, it's celebrated around the winter solstice, and during this festival, the people would visit a soothsayer on the Capitoline Hill to have their futures read. Some believe it was common to give gifts to the soothsayer to ensure good fortune in the new year, much like La Befana, now giving gifts to the children. And the other connection, the Strenia, the Roman goddess of the new year and well-being, whose name may be related to the word Befana. So, not all witches are bad. This witch is happening to, well, try and right her wrongs. So, hello, Italy. Good luck, and I hope you have a good sky, a good clear sky for Le Befania to drop those gifts on January 5th. Buttercups, we're now heading to the Czech Republic. And Christmas dinner on December 24th is going to be a little bit difficult. So let's see some of these traditions that might make it difficult. Number 1, no light should be lit in the house before the first star comes out. After it does, dinner is served. Alright, the table should be set for an even number of guests. An odd number brings bad luck or death. An extra plate can be used to even out the number of guests. So you have 11, set 12 places. An extra plate should be prepared in case an unexpected guest or a person in need comes by the house at dinner time. Hey, that's why you need that extra plate setting, right? No one should sit with their back to the door. I thought that was an Italian thing, but okay. Christmas dinner should consist of 9 courses, including soup, bread with honey, carp, potato salad, fruit, can be dried, fresh, or canned, dessert, apple strudel or Christmas bread, and other foods. That sounds like you better not be eating for the rest of that day and the earlier part of the day. Let's just be fair. No alcohol should be served on Christmas Eve. No one should ever get up from the Christmas table before dinner is finished. Doing so brings bad luck and death in the family. Everyone should finish their dinner and leave nothing on the plate. The first person to leave the table after dinner will be the first one to die in the coming year. That is why everyone should get up from the table at the same time. Any leftovers from dinners, be it crumbs, fish bones, etc., should be buried around the trees to ensure they will bear lots of fruit. All animals, household animals, should be fed after dinner so that no one goes hungry on Christmas Eve. Holy schmoly. That makes for a very, very strict Christmas dinner. I don't know if I want to say yes to that invite if I got one. Huh. So, there are certain plants, spices, and food to have special qualities and be an important part of the Czech Christmas celebration throughout history. Number 1, one of my favorites, garlic. It's an essential part, and it should not be missing at any point in this dinner. It is believed to provide strength and protection. A bowl of garlic can be placed under the dinner table. Okay. And for those garlic intolerant vampires or people, just don't eat it. Honey. Honey is believed to guard against evil. A pot of honey can be placed on the dinner table. Okay. Mushrooms. They give health and strength. A traditional meal called kuba. I'm probably sure I mispronounced that. Please don't come after me. Just educate me. It is are prepared from dried mushrooms, barley, garlic, onions, and spices used to serve as the main meal in the past. Mushroom soup can be served before dinner. A sheaf of grain. A bundle of grain dipped in holy water can be used to sprinkle the house to prevent it from burning down in the next year. All right. Poppy seeds, peas, wheat, and barley. If given to the hens on Christmas Eve, lots of eggs will be laid in the coming year. Christmas bread. Feeding a piece of Christmas bread to the cows on Christmas Eve will ensure that there will be lots of milk all year. Putting a few of the crumbs in front of the beehive will help the bees produce enough honey for the next year, and throwing a piece of it into the well will guarantee good water quality. Okay, I just have to ask, what if you don't have cows and bees and chickens? But that's just me. Or goats. Because if you give a goat an apple on Christmas Eve, their milk will be sweet. The foretelling of the future and predicting of the well-being of the family in the coming years connected with many popular Christmas customs, some of which are still practiced today. Floating walnut shells. Little boats are made out of empty walnut shells, and each family member places a little burning candle into a shell. Everyone's shells, are then floated on a bowl of water. If the shell makes it across the bowl, the owner will live a long and healthy life. A shell that sinks is going to bring bad luck to its owner. Okay, so I guess make sure your shell is not cracked. Woo. The cutting of the apple. After Christmas dinner, every person present at that table will cut an apple in half, crosswise from the stem down. Both halves are shown to everyone around the table. As a star means that everyone will get together next year in happiness and health. A four-pointed cross is a bad omen and means that someone at the table will fall ill or die within a year. Is anybody else getting kind of that spooky vibe? Just saying. The pouring of lead. A piece of lead is melted over fire and poured into a container of water. The resulting shape will tell the pourer's destiny. Okay. So there are lots of customs helping young girls in the family find out they will get married in the upcoming year. On December 4th, St. Barbara's Day, an unmarried girl is supposed to cut a twig off a cherry tree and put it in water. If the twig blooms by Christmas Eve, the girl will get married within a year. Or you can throw a shoe. An unmarried girl is supposed to throw a shoe over her shoulder and towards the door. If the shoe lands with the toe pointing towards the door, the girl will marry within a year. The shaking of the elder tree. An unmarried girl is supposed to shake an elder tree, and if a dog barks, she will marry a man who lives in the direction of which the dog bark came from. There's a phrase she can say when that happens. Now, there are a lot of traditions that are based on families and spirituality and things like that. But there are a few that relate to money and wealth. They say fish scales should be placed under Christmas dinner plates or under the tablecloth to bring wealth to the family. Or the house, sorry. Carrying a fish scale in a wallet all year will ensure that money will not run out. These things are crazy, y'all. Now, there are some other Christmas customs, and superstitions. If you fast all day until dinner, you will see the golden piglet on the wall. I didn't know that by fasting you... Okay. I'm just going to stop my thoughts there. After Christmas dinner, no field is to be crossed until midnight mass. Whoever does will die within a year. If you fail to give a present on Christmas Eve, you will be met with poverty. Wow. A pregnant woman will know whether she is carrying a boy or a girl once the first Christmas Eve visitor enters the house. If the visitor is female, she will have a daughter. Vice versa if the first visitor is a male. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that the Czech Republic has quite the Uh, uh, quite the Christmas customs list and um, superstitions. A lot of it, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense based on where it is. So, ladies, if you're not married, there are a few ways to possibly tell if you might get married. And there's good ways to, you know, bring some good luck into your house. So, good luck with that and enjoy that very, very large meal. We're going to celebrate Christmas in Germany now. Now, there are some things that they do that are very interesting. So, they have the Advent wreath, Christmas markets, and St. Nicholas Day on December 6th. So, the main celebration is Christmas Eve. And that's when the families gather for a festive meal, exchange gifts, and decorate the Christmas tree. And so they use Christmas Day more as a quiet day spent with family, and the season will continue to the 12th night of Epiphany. Let's go with the Advent wreath. Families light one of four candles on an Advent wreath each Sunday before Christmas. Now they have Christmas markets, and what these are they're very popular, first of all. And throughout December, they feature food, mulled wine, and handmade gifts, which is pretty cool. And then there's St. Nicholas Day. This is December 5th, and children will leave their shoes outside for St. Nick to fill with treats if they've been good. And they do suggest putting out a new pair of shoes. But when we talk about Christmas Eve, this is the most important day of the holiday, according to a study in Germany. And so they do decorate Christmas trees with ornaments, candles, or sweets, and is often topped with a star and an angel. They do exchange their gifts, and so their gifts can be brought by the Christ child or Santa Claus. Now, their dinner is a very special evening meal shared, which can include roast goose, carp, or roast duck, with sides like red cabbage and dumplings. And families can sing carols and many attend church services. So they take the 24th as the biggest day of this season. Now, December 25th, it's really just that quiet day where people hang out with their families, reflect, and they visit church. What's really cool is that December 26th is a public holiday, providing more time for the family. And there are some regions that the celebrations will last until January 6th, which is Epiphany. This is where children may dress as three wise kings and go caroling. So, I do think it's very interesting that the country of Germany has made it a thing to celebrate and put the focus more on the 24th than the 25th, because it does give family time to get together in their own nuclear way. And what we found out is that Advent calendars, they're sold in most countries, but the tradition actually originated in Germany. It was first used by German Lutherans in the 19th and 20th centuries. And this is where many families would mark the days leading up to Christmas by burning a candle or marking walls or doors with a line of chalk. So that makes a lot of sense. Excuse me. So that actually is kind of cool. Now, as we know, it has evolved. That tradition is now full of so many different types of calendars. And you can do something that has chocolate or beauty products. You can even fill your own advent calendars, which apparently are also popular in Germany. And you can do homemade calendars, which is really awesome. So we know about the origin story now, the advent calendar. So we know that December 24th is when you exchange the big gifts. But did you know that stockings are filled on the 6th of December? And that's when the children receive them. This is on St. Nicholas Day, and it's known as the Feast of St. Nicholas. It's an age-old tradition observed in many Eastern, well, in many European countries, regardless of religious denomination. You clean your boot the night before the 6th, and then only if you've done a good job, St. Nicholas comes and fills it with oranges, chocolates, nuts, and maybe even a little gift like a toy or a book. Now, obviously, we know about Krampus, but there is a not so merry tradition that people will be seen dressed up as Krampus and walking the streets the night before the celebration of the Feast of St. Nicholas. We already know who Krampus is, so this is just him checking everything out, I guess. We are all well aware that traditions evolve, right? And so now, while Christmas Eve is the biggest night of celebration for this Christmas season, there are many places that many times, or many families really, that have scrapped a rule that maybe was outdated. So it used to be, I suppose, that the Christmas feast was reserved for Christmas Day on the 25th. And that would be the big meal. But the night before Christmas Eve, they would have the simple meal of potato sausage, potato salad, and sausages. However, as Wanda explains, based on this article by housebeautiful.com, many families nowadays have scrapped this rule. At my grandparents, we used to have potato salad and frankfurters on Christmas Eve, and the Christmas feast the following day, she says. But later, when celebrating with just my parents, we'd have the roast on Christmas Eve as part of the celebration. Now, we get to learn that possibly, contrary to popular belief, the modern Christmas tree with its shiny baubles and twinkling lights didn't actually originate in Victorian Britain. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert were known to be big Christmas enthusiasts and certainly played their part in making decorating trees a household tradition, but they were not the first to do so. In the 16th century, German Christians brought decorated trees into their home to celebrate the holiday, with many families building Christmas pyramids of wood and decorating them with evergreens if trees were scarce. Now, the Protestant reformer Martin Luther is said to have had been the first person to add lights to his tree. As the story goes, he saw the moon glistening through the woods during a walk and wanted his family to experience it at home. So, now we have the possible origin of the Christmas tree decorating hype. And we learn that Germans put their tree up on December 24th. Now, granted, this is not every single person. It can vary from family to family. But a lot of people still follow this tradition. They deck the halls in the weeks before, they save the tree for last. They do have their own version of fruitcake as well. And this is perhaps one of the best known German traditions for Christmas. Not to mention, it's one of the tastiest. It's Stollen. I'm sure I mispronounced that. I'm super sorry, guys. It's a fruit bread, which is made with nuts, spices, candied fruit, and powdered sugar. And you enjoy it throughout the whole festive season. I can't pronounce how they pronounce it, but it is unsurprisingly loved by many people across Europe. So if you're in an international market, you may even find yourself trying it. There's so many different traditions that Germany does have. I feel like it's worth looking into. And for those of German descent, or to those who celebrate the German traditions, they are very cool. So, very, very nice. Buttercups, I hope you enjoyed the second part of our unique worldly Christmas traditions. You can send your comments, questions, or concerns to harktisthetbell@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this week's episode. Toodaloo!